Greetings, everybody. Hope you're doing well and having a fine day. I wanted to take a few minutes to go over chapter 19.5, environmental section of the chapter, and want to look at where this environmental movement began. And it's something that Americans, well, the whole world, has sort of done to itself by being negligent and poor caretakers. So we want to start with back to President Nixon, who president in 1970s, 69, 70, 71, 72, 3 and 4. He actually, for being a Republican, and he was quite a conservationist. And this thing about Republicans and Democrats, the Republicans don't care about the environment, and Democrats all, it's really just a lot of politics. Not much of it is true. But here we have Nixon coming through and starting the Clean Air Act in 1970. He started the Clean Water Act in 1972 and started the Environmental Protection Agency during his administration. And in actuality, Nixon, one of the most environmental presidents that we've had. Now, back in the day, the truck used to come down our streets in Woodland, and they sprayed a cloud of DDT smoke. They'd come around 6, 7 o'clock at night, and that DDT was meant to kill the mosquitoes. And I do remember that a lot of kids took their bike and drove in the cloud behind the truck. So consequently, they're breathing all this DDT. And hey, here we are. We're fine today. Wouldn't you agree? And it came to pass that this DDT was proved harmful. A bunch of lab rats died in it. So, of course, they outlawed DDT. And the mosquitoes proliferated. And as we all know how annoying they are. Mosquitoes are drawn to lactose. Drink less milk, and you might have less mosquitoes. Well, balance your milk. Okay. In addition to this DDT finding, Rachel Carson, she wrote a book called Silent Spring. And basically, this book just named everybody to blame, and that we're never going to have any trees around. We're never going to have any more flowers, and all the beautiful greenery's all going to disappear, and yada, yada, yada. But it did catch on with Americans getting an awareness of their environment, and that it needs to be taken care of, and we need to be stewards of the planet, not just Americans, but everyone. This grassroots movement in the late 60s, early 70s, it came out with a lot of environmental awareness. As I said, there was the Audubon Society, which had been going for quite a while. They studied birds and the effect of the environment on birds and so forth. And things like the Sierra Club, still very strong even today. And then, of course, the lawyers got involved, and everything ended up in courts and ended up really halting a lot of new development. Another act that Nixon did that people aren't aware of too much was he did the Endangered Species Act of 1973. And then, of course, by the 80s and 90s, when you'd have the spotted owl found somewhere in a forest out in Oregon, well, then nobody was allowed to cut down any trees. And of course, the price of paper products went up. It was quite, and has been, quite an issue. It's a political issue. Today it's reached to the climate change issue. We have recycling. We have recycling of plastic, recycling of cardboard, and previous to this, you just threw everything in the trash can and took it all off to the dump or something like that. So Nixon does prove to be one of the more environmental presidents. Now, towards the end of this section, they talk about Love Canal, which is a city, a town, little village kind of town out by Niagara Falls. And Niagara Falls took all their chemical waste and dumped it in this area of called Love Canal. Well, lo and behold, as you would gather, the land was subsequently later sold to the school district. And of course, they put a school in there. And then someone noticed, hey, we're not feeling well. This one's dying of this one's dying of that. These kids are not kids, but the people are dying way before their time. Many, many people getting sick, and they come to find out that the chemicals dumped in the water and in the ground had now seeped through whatever container they were in and had contaminated the property. And the people were breathing and drinking a lot of these chemicals and dying, sad to say. So after a big case, Love Canal was shut down. Love Canal residents were transferred, all at a cost to the government, which transferred to other places to live. And it cost the government a fortune. So they set up this super fund from the chemical companies specifically for these kind of cleanups. Now, I did a little research, and of course, people have moved into Love Canal today. People are still getting sick in Love Canal, but they're getting great deals on their real estate. So, what a balance and what a trade off. As the saying goes, if you have your health, you have wealth. Okay, so that's it for chapter 19.5. Our chapter test will be tomorrow. Please complete 19.5, 1 to 5, and have a fine day. Peace.